Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're going to be looking at an Arceus Bibarel deck using Crobat VMAX as well as Corviknight VMAX, all in one sort of toolbox. It's an interesting take on the deck. Obviously, a lot of the time you're going to be seeing Arceus with an Inteleon approach, but in this build we are going to be playing Bibarel instead. Really, it means that we can lean into the maximum copies of Quick and Ultra Ball, maximum copies of our Arceus V, and have a couple Crobat V at our disposal to have a slightly less shaky early game that the Inteleon deck can sometimes have. I do think that this archetype has strengths and weaknesses in comparison to Inteleon. Of course, in the late game, Inteleon is far superior. It can cherry pick all sorts of one-offs, whereas we're a little bit more sort of draw and hope with the Industrious Incisors at times. But hopefully with enough discard from these guys and enough insta-playables, we can cycle for our deck quite nicely, especially when we thin our deck of many of our energy cards via Trinity Nova anyway. You work your way towards your supporter cards of choice, etc. So that's kind of the idea here. And of course, we have Starbirth to smooth out our openings. So that's what we're rocking with. We have a 4-2 line of the Arceus V-Star. Quick note on the V, Trinity Charge is a great attack to go for to power up various V Pokemon if you want to. But the star of the show is literally Arceus V-Star. It has 280 hit points. It has the Starbirth ability, allowing us to cherry pick any two cards and put them straight into hand. This can help get into Trinity Nova in the first place by getting our double turbo energies out of the deck. It can help us get damage modifiers if we want to push the 180 damage of the reduction with double turbo into better numbers with the help of Zigzagoon and Choice Belt. We can also look for disruptive plays like Marnie Path, for example, and try and have that angle to the deck as well. So there's a few different options you can do. With your Starbirth, of course, it can help get the relevant attackers into play as well when needed. So yeah, obviously very versatile ability there. And Trinity Nova is going to be the way we can power up some of these high energy attack costing Pokemon around the board. So yeah, obviously it's kind of a big part of our deck. It's definitely our turn 2 play that we try and look towards in pretty much every situation. So let's talk about the sort of Dark package first. Of course, Dark Pokemon in general are going to be fairly useful against Mew. The reason why we play Crobat VMAX is that it means you get to play 2 Crobat Vs for Dark Asset in those opening turns to try and get a slightly wider board, maybe double threats developed with your Arceus, try and get Bidoof down as quickly as possible, those sorts of things. But evolving into the Crobat VMAX offers 2 pretty solid attacks. We have Stealth Poison that does 70 and Poison, and then you switch with one of your benched. This is okay into Malamar, of course, because you can start feeding 1 prized Pokemon, of which we have 5, potentially we could throw at them with Stealth Poison and sort of slow the game down, force more resources out of the opponent. We're also playing an Avery in here to try and add some additional disruption here and there. If you can time the Avery on a turn where you're attacking with one of your higher hit point Pokemon, like the Crobat or the Arceus with a Big Charm on ideally, you can try and make it awkward for them, whilst in the sort of mid-game when you're piecing together this combo with Avery, you can feed them 1 prizes and just sort of trade up on them turn by turn and really put pressure on them having 1 big power spike once we've hit them with an Avery KO sort of play. So that's very good. It's also okay in Arc Mirrors. We don't have many great ways to deal with Arceus V-Stars, especially if they have Big Charms on them. So if we're able to Stealth Poison and switch to the bench and feed a 1-prize Pokemon, or feed a Pokemon that they can't knock out in 1 hit, like even Hoopa V is not a bad Pokemon to throw into the active because of its higher hit points, especially if they have Big Charm established. It forces them into an awkward spot where if they Sharon's Care, they're not taking a prize or only taking 1 prize if we're going into a 1-prize Mon. And if they are choosing to boss around the thing that we threw into the active, it means they're not healing, which is helpful to us. So not the worst attack to go for there. And Max Cutter is pretty solid into Mew, of course, for getting 1-hit KOs. We're hoping that Path Marnie Disruption plus a little bit of Dark from Crobat here, especially if we can Big Charm him, is going to be enough. It's a soft answer to Mew, and it is pretty close, but I think a lot of the time it does get the job done. We're also playing a Hoopa V in here. His Dark typing is helpful, but also his Psychic typing is helpful thanks to the two-faced ability. This is going to really help out against the Urshifu players out there, because they are still out there. I know it's a lot less popular than Mew and Arceus, but it still has to be respected, and Shadow Impact does get the job done there. Do bear in mind it has counter synergy with your own Path of the Peaks, so be very careful of counter stadiuming in the Urshifu matchup, because of course you want that to be live for 1-hit KOs. So yeah, pretty solid there. And then we have the Corviknight, which is kind of the curious part of this deck, I guess. We're playing a 2-2 line. Not too many thrills on the regular V. Clutch is a potential panic option if you really want to. But the VMAX does have some impressive traits. It's got 320 hit points, has the Lustrous Body ability, which is a little bit of nice extra help here and there. It's not a huge deal, because of course we're playing our own part of the peaks in some situations, but it means that things like quick shooting can't affect this guy and put it into range, which is also pretty reasonable. And we also have the G-Max Hurricane attack for Metal Metal Colorless. You do 240 and you can't use G-Max Hurricane the following turn. Pretty solid though, actually. 240, a little bit below where you want it to be, but we are playing double belt as well as Zig and Net to try and get into that 280 range that a lot easier, which is very nice. And 240 is still very good with Boss's Orders plays to knock out obviously 2 prize V Pokemon. Even with like a Big Charm on an Arceus V, for example, we would need only Belt or Zig, Net, whatever, to hit that 250 mark as well. So it's a good enough number for us there. And it has natural free retreat, which is actually very solid for this deck because we are a little bit light on our switch outs. We're just playing Rope and Air Balloon right now, so having a natural pivot, not too shabby at all. Also, this has weakness to fire, which is basically non-existent in the format right now, which is another benefit to this card in general. So it makes it a decent tank in the deck. So that's really the main purpose of it. Going to be putting a shift in Arc Mirrors, like I said, trying to push into those more dangerous numbers with these combinations that we have available to us. And of course, in the opening turns, we have our own Zig Belt to try and like pressurize their Arceuses. And because we have, you know, the Bats, the Quick Balls, the Ultra Balls, when we're the player going first, we really should be pressurizing that advantage and getting into our V-Star turn 2 with energy ready to rumble and hopefully boss to boot. So yeah, just the way the decks run means we get to just like play Pokemon a lot more aggressively in those opening turns than Arc Intels that sort of play with their opening 7 cards, and that's really about it. Other cards, we've got Manaphy to also help out against Urshifu, so the combination of Hoopa and Manaphy should be okay. We don't have any Pokemon reload, but the Manaphy is really just here for a safety net in the opening stages of the game, because the Hoopa can easily wipe Urshifus off the board, so we just need the Manaphy to give our early game boards some protection, so they don't just sort of go aggressively targeting down like engine Pokemon at the same time as Arceus and flying ahead in a prize race. Let them only take maximum 2 prizes in one turn by knocking out like a V-Star, and you can try and claw the game back prize race-wise with your Hoopa response. That's kind of the idea. We have Pumpkaboo for a ball searchable bounce to opposing paths and any other stadiums we're kind of concerned about. It's also an extra 1 prize Pokemon to help with the Stealth Poison strat. Zigzagoon, huge card. And it's the main reason I play 1 net, just to try and reuse this card here and there. It also gives us reuse potential on Pumpkaboo. And yeah, we have the 2-2 line of Bibarel helping us out throughout the game and not taking up too much space, which is very good of him. The Paths, obviously helping out against Mew, can be useful in Mirror as well if you try and establish it early. Avery mostly for Mally, but it's just a draw 3 and is good against any Intel engine, really. Can be pretty scary for a few people. You got high boss count, high Marnie count, as well as couple research and a Raihan. Our only acceleration here, so we are a little bit worried about you know, energy removal in moments, so just be a little bit wary of that. But of course, we have so much acceleration via Nova, you should be okay anyways. And again, because you're Crobatting and all that good stuff, we have a healthy 12 energy as well in the deck. We should be hitting energy drops every single turn and not really missing. So yeah, got the Balloon for extra pivoting and obviously searchable. Got the Big Charm, great on our tanking mons like Crobat against Mew, Corviknight in certain situations, Arceus in early game spots, not a bad deal here at all. Even putting it on your evolving Vs to try and make them that little bit bulkier to avoid opposing bosses is big at times. And can even work on things like Manaphy or whatever if you want to protect around Yoga Loop. You've got your belts to improve our damage. I've mentioned a lot of numbers with the Arceus to hit 220 with the Zig, or 210 just on his own. The Corviknight can go up to 270 or 280, so that's obviously very good. And yeah, you got the 2 double turbos. It's a little bit skimpy, a little bit light, so oftentimes you will be birthing for this card. But I am still skeptical of Whimsicott, and I don't want too many double turbos, especially when we're only playing 2 V-Stars, so a full-on Arc game plan rarely comes off. So normally, if you're going to use 2 Arceus V-Stars anywhere, you'd Arc to an Arc kind of deal. So usually you only need to really use like 1 or 2 double turbo maximum, and then you've got 5 of each basic energy. Gives a really healthy amount to play with. Both the Crobat and the Hoopa require 2 dark, and the Corviknight requires 2 metal. So we're splitting it straight down the middle here to try and get things working. This is actually a very similar engine to the Brazil-winning Lucario V-Star deck. So the Corviknight is a little bit different, but overall not too much in terms of engine. But let's go ahead and talk about the Poketown store, the sponsor of the channel. Go ahead and use code Omnipoke for 5% off your order on PTCGO codes. So they got you covered for all your code needs, especially stuff from Brilliant Stars. As we get into our first game here. And obviously you're an Arceus deck, you want to go first. As and when you can. Pretty much the deal here. Have a reasonable opener. We are going first, so I might want to protect this Arceus that little bit. I think I'll go Boo active. I have Rope already as pivot potential in hand. Let's get some idea of what our opponent's playing. The good news about leading any one prize is we also have good old net to try and pick it out. So it looks like we are up against Whimsicott. So Corviknight obviously has favourable type coverage into Whims. So that's something to bear in mind. And we straight away find a basic energy. So that's pretty much the dream. There's not much else you really want out of this hand. The only sort of downside is that if our opponent does path us straight away, obviously our Pumpkin Pit's right here. Normally we'd be okay with our Quick Balls, but we happen to lead this guy out. So I'm considering Quick Balling away Quick Ball here just for Bidoof. Just to get it established so that after the Marnie, I could still have Incisor draw, potentially. So let's have a look. We do have both of our Corviknight VMAXs, which is cool. But yeah, our only bounces to path is via the Pumpkaboo, and it would be via hitting this Scoop Up Net, which won't be easy. We do have both our double turbos. Let's bench this Bidoof and cross your fingers around Crushing Hammer, basically. Because this list, like I said, isn't playing Melanie. It's not playing E-Switch Moltres plays. So you really are at the mercy of heads and tails flips from Crushings in the opening stages. So you'll love to see a Tails straight out the gate. Essentially, that's going to be huge. Let's see what else they can come up with. Whimsicott typically doesn't have the most explosive turns. They have Crobat available to them, usually as their best push potential, as well as like research. Our opponent taking their time though. Going to get their own double turbo down. Going to see Quick Ball, so they can at least bat here. Otherwise, they might just be developing pre-supporter. They definitely have draw available because they're getting rid of Marnie here. They hit the path, which is really yucky for us. Very sad that we started the Pumpkaboo in this instance. Very, very sad. Because typically you wouldn't have problem brushing this off, but unfortunately it's going to be down to like Marnie and Bibarel to try and get us around this path and try and work towards this double turbo energy. Also going to Rope, try and get this arc rolling. I think we'll pop another one down. One Corviknight should be plenty. We do miss off the initial Marnie. I can thin a Crobat here. It's obviously not very good when a path is established. We only have one Bibarel. Do I want to go for a Tantrum here? Yes, a Tantrum would be great. On the off chance we actually get there, we're looking for net or DTE. So we have 3 outs here, drawing 3 cards. And let's get these down as quickly as possible. Because there's not much of a window for those. We got a pass. The path has done its job against us, unfortunately. It do be like that sometimes. Yeah. Just one of those things. How often do you just lead Pumpkaboo and it's exactly Whimsicott? Not too often. It's normally the safest route when you're going second to just lead a one prizer, right? Force bosses out the opponent. Oh, sorry, when you go first. Just in case it's Mew, right? Getting the double belt down early is not bad, though. Helps us do boss plays later down the line if we get there. So we are obviously going to get rid of the Zig here. I think I have to sack the Arceus now, because I need to keep the Pumpkaboo for the net plays. Avery draw 3. I wonder if they have any more hammers. That would be the scariest thing. Then I'm going to evolve in the active. We see a Bidoof. So they can get an energy drop down here. I wonder if they go for the Pumpkaboo here. It's a real big read if they do. I think the fact that I got rid of an Arceus may be a telltale sign, though. It's not the worst thing to do. It's decent tempo. Yeah, they go for it. I respect that. I think it's a solid choice. Oh. And breathe. Okay. Let's knock this guy out. Do I want to bench this? Not really. Yep. Whew, happy days. Right. So I'm going to go Metal, Metal, and Darkness active. So you play around Fan. That a little bit better. We do hit our other bibs, and we hit Ultra Ball now, which is solid. Always good to deal with the Whimsies while they're small and able to be booted around. Couple crushing tails is huge for us, not gonna lie. Really saving our bacon here. We would have been set back a long way by those hammers, because this is a slightly vulnerable list to exactly Whimsicott. I think there are more versatile or more Arceus decks that have better Whimsy matchups. Like the Beedrill list can one-shot Whimsies pretty happily for just one attachment. And obviously a lot of the Intel Dark Arcs are playing E-Switch packages now in addition to Raihan. And it could be something we could incorporate here. We are playing some Darkness Energy, so it's possible. Then going to try and tackle the Corviknight. Sounds reasonable to me. Let's see a Crushing come down as well. They've been super unlucky. They have been super unlucky. Alright. No other way to slice it, but regardless, they're going to get destroyed by a hurricane here. Yeah, they're just done. That's a bad beat for the Whimsicott, honestly. I feel like it's, even though we play Corviknight, which can be like bopping them, we are vulnerable to Path and we are vulnerable to Trick Wind and Hammers, honestly. So it's one of those things. I feel like the game really comes down to the first opening turns against Whims for this deck specifically. Because if you get to Trinity Nova, you're going to win the game. If you don't, for a number of turns, the pressure can like build up against you and they can start to pick apart your board that little bit. Obviously, normally you have Starbirth open to you just via Quick Ball and Ultra Ball, so us being denied the Starbirth was rare, I would say. Awesome Arceus coin. Let's see what we got here. This is why you love full Ultra, full Quick. You just get rolling in the game. Looks like we're in a mirror of some description. Definitely happy to swing an energy on. Going first as Arceus, I'm happy getting rid of Belt. Or, like, playing out the Belt. Do I want to hold the Ball Search entirely here? I feel like I can. I've already got Bidoof established and it's not under threat of anything. I think we can chill, honestly. You don't really want to be pushing with Crobats in this instance because it's a liability to have them in play. Also, don't want to overplay V Pokemon into a potential Zapdos. Everyone's out here playing Crushings, apparently. Yikes. What is going on? Hello? That's a Kaboo. I am now confused. Officially confused.com. Right. Arc Ice Rider, but we have the Corviknight, so we're one step ahead. Or something like that. Alright, they're doing the classic spread. So you haven't been able to search the deck yet. I think I'm Ultra Balling away Quick and Corv. No, I Ultra Ball away Ultra Ball. No, I do get rid of Quick and Corv, right? Because then I go Bidoof, draw 3, Ultra Ball for this. It's the best way to weave in the Bibarel here, right? We do have our 2-1 Corv, which I'm happy to see. Let's incisors first. Those aren't bad discards at all. In this case, certainly want to get our V-Star. And we'll rip the research before Starbirth here. So I could get a Trinity Nova in if I wanted to. I could just go DTE plus Arc, Nova it all over here. I'd probably charm the active, Nova some Dark Energies on, pop a path down and see what happens. Seems reasonable. Especially if they're playing Hammers and Fans, I don't want to fall prey to just like a Crushing Heads and a Boss or something. So we are going to spend our net here. Protect the Bibs. Big Charm to try and force the VMAX from the opponent. Play the path. Charge up. We'll go all active. Sorry, all bench. We have energy in hand, right? Bit of an awkward Starbirth, but I think it gets us the strongest board I could represent. Most robust against energy disruption as well. Maybe hurts their hand at the same time, that little bit. I'm going to see the Ice Rider come out here. Let's see the retreat. Okay. Here comes the Crushings. That's why I wanted to go all 3 rather than split it up, because if they take KO active and I had only had 2 and I got Crushing Hammered back down, it would be really sad, so They're going full Icy Boy. Here he comes. They have the belt as well for next turn. Gross. Okay. Alright. We're going to be forced to Marnie here. I mean, Raihan active to get a Corv down isn't the worst idea in the world. Disrupting a potential... Actually pretty close. I think I am going to Raihan instead now. So I definitely should have incensed differently, but I thought I was Marnieing. Wait, is it still good to Marnie here? They've got the guaranteed KO. Is it better for me to, like, hurt the hand now so they can't attach to an Arceus? But what if I miss the Corviknight? I still have all my Ball Search, though, right? No, I've played a couple. Let's play safe. Let's play around Hammer, I guess, in case it's going to go Hammer Boss. Double Corv doesn't make too much sense. Especially because I've lost the Big Charm. But is this the best place to try and weave it in now? No, because we only have one VMAX anyway. Yeah, let's just Nova. So they can be going down to 2 prizes pretty comfortably. But we are representing a response, even if they boss here. They'll go down to 2 prizes. We can knock out plus Marnie and hope for the best. I guess they Melanie here this turn. But the size of Corviknight's going to be pretty vital here. There's potential for them to boss now as well. No, they just have no supporter. Just take the KO. Okay. How do we like roping? Do we like roping? Sky Hurricane won't KO this, obviously, but it will definitely KO this guaranteed. I'm not scared about belts. I'm just thinking it's really hard to KO this later down the line. It requires belt and Zig. I might try and play the rope and see how they react to it. Oh, that changes a lot, but I won't show it yet. Yeah, so I think this is really nice. Because dealing with this now is so much better than dealing it when it's a V-Star, and it takes a Starbirth off the board even more so. Like, even if they had Bounce. Right. I don't really want to bench any other Pokemon, although if I'm going to bench anything, now is the turn, because they can't Melanie and boss me. So if I'm doing it, it's happening now. I could go Arceus Attach. Means I don't just lose to getting hit, basically. Go like this. Draw as many cards as possible from Bibs. There's our V-Star, which is solid for next turn. Yeah, let's just Hurricane. There's the Zig. So next turn I can't Hurricane, right? And we've already played our Rope. Let's see how the Marnie treated them first of all. Well, that answers one question. Okay, that's also awkward. Cram heads? Wait, what am I playing against? And why is it so good? Wait. Could be a number of things. Could be... Yeah, okay, so they're going to Incense. Yeah, so they have energy in hand as well. So they're just going to hit us. Okay. So they basically need to Melanie attach again next turn. The Cram Heads really scares me, though. Like, what do I even do against it? I'm just going to do the... get rid of this. We're just going to do the Bibarel Avery. I feel like they would have crammed a better card, right? But I don't know if there's anything else I do here. Oh, we missed Energy Drop? Okay. Well, that makes life even more awkward. Because we are not allowed to Hurricane twice. This could be an interesting way to exhaust resources, though. I'm just baffled, honestly. You just... Okay, let's get another game in. Yeah, I wasn't playing around that. That's funny. How many of you were screaming as I was benching the Bidoof and the Manaphy? Tell me it was none of you, please. Let's get one more game in. We've got the unfortunate bat start, but we do have VMAX if it's relevant. Ah, it's a fighting deck. That makes the bat quite bad. But I'm without an energy drop, so I might need to bat again. Uh-oh. Avery should be good in a matchup like this, I imagine. We certainly would like an energy drop. Certainly allowed to get rid of this Corviknight. And the V-Star? No, I guess I'll just get rid of Research. And get a Bidoof down. You hate having to double bat against a deck like that, but here we are. We hit the energy drop. All is good. Let's pass. Let's see. Yeah, they're playing a Cincino engine. Seems solid to me. Let's get a Bibarel. Let's go Bibbing for 4. Those aren't super helpful, so I'm not able to weave in a boss here, unfortunately. I was thinking to have a switch out or a DTE. I can rope, though. Could make life awkward for them. I think it's a bad time to rope. Try and disrupt that a little bit. Their hand can't be that bad if they're happy to do that. But let's do the stuff. Pull out the Dark Energies because I want to make a Corviknight, hopefully, as our late game push. But I think this is going to be a tough matchup. He's found one of the only Arceus players not playing Dunsparce. Alright, there's the Roaring Resolve. The good news is they don't have much to work with, but they are taking 2 cards here. So let's... I want to try and Bibs before I support her here. Ideally. So let's... Bibarel's such a bad attacker, but it's a 1-prizer. It's probably better than putting on a bat, honestly. Let's Bibarel for 2. That is useless. Okay, so we can take the KO with Power Edge. They go 6, 12. It's just so good for them. Or I'm V-starring and attacking with Bibarel next turn. Oh, it's so gross. This is all very ugly. We're hoping to tank a turn with this guy. It's not unrealistic. That's a pretty good prize. See what the opponent's up to. Call for family. Okay, gonna get back the boys. Okay, seems good. They're going for the old reload. I guess I hunt these boys. If I can't entirely remove the card draw, I should entirely remove the attackers, right? Okay, seems good. Alright, so they're going to get to draw some cards. They are just 2 attacks away from beating us still. Let's not forget. They're going to go for another Make Do Man. Okay. They have a Training Court. Okay, they're going to Court Call. Understandable. We're going to keep hunting. I can retreat here as well. Let's retreat and attack with this one. Or I could Avery. Avery just gets rid of this, though. We know they have another Cincino in hand. Get back our free energy. Swing with the big chonky boy. Buying turns pretty effectively here. They have to take prizes this turn to be in the game. They have to Lucario Boss Riolu all this turn. More chinchillas are down. Yeah, I think we just win on the spot now, right? Yeah. Well, we overcame a really strange matchup. We've faced a lot of strange matchups down the ladder. I have been playing a lot of experimental stuff, so I think my MMR's gone to pot. I think there's no other way to explain it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Corviknight. Let me know your thoughts on potential Lucario V-Star being the other option in this slot, basically. And what you think about the Bibarel engine as opposed to the Inteleon engine. We were doing what we wanted most games. So yeah, pretty interesting deck overall. Let me know your thoughts on it down below, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.